Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Flip Your Life podcast, episode number 1. So, what's up, my man?
Hey,
So,
what's going
we're
on, baby?
excited. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm excited. This has definitely been something that we have been very, very fired up about, and definitely excited to bring this to the community around us. But guys, if you're listening to this podcast, we are so grateful, we're so thankful, and excited to bring you along this journey. This is just like a little intro. We're really just sharing why we even started this podcast. What is Flip Your Life? Like how this thing has really changed your life, just so you kind of know a little bit of Vaughn, who's also here with me, and my name is Miles, and why really why we're doing this. It's very special to us, and we're really excited about it. And yeah, Vaughn, I don't know, man. How about you share a little bit about why are we even doing this? Like, why is this even a thing?
Dude, man, I've been waiting for a long time to do this, man, especially with you, because I know we both characters, so we can have a lot of fun doing this. But two,
Oh
man,
yeah.
you have a story to tell, I have a story to tell, and so I've been on a lot of podcasts in the last year, and I know you have as well. But we've done a lot of stuff together. We mastermind a lot. From mentor, mentee. I mentor you, you mentor me. So we just have a lot of experiences that need to be shared with the world. Especially here in our local area. But I know this is something that we've both wanted to do for a while. And, one of the things that real estate investing has done for me, it has completely changed my life in the last 3.5 to 4 years. And I know it's done the same thing for you. So that's why we
Oh yeah.
really came up with the name and the idea of the Flip Your Life podcast.
Yeah.
Because real estate investing can literally flip your life depending on where you are right
Oh
now.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I love that, and we're gonna get in a little bit of our backstories, because I think that's what's important for people to know who are listening, is that it really doesn't matter where you come from. Like, this is the cool thing about real estate. Like, it's so crazy. As I've been in this journey, I know you've been in this journey. Like, anybody can make real estate a lifestyle for themselves, can be something that's impactful that they can grasp. I think, especially for me, when I think about real estate back in the day, when I was like in college or high school, I would always think like real estate is like for the guy with the nice hairdo and a suit and tie and a briefcase, working at some really high sky rise or something in the middle of the city. And it's just, dude, it's just totally not the case, man. I mean, this business and this industry really is for anybody and everybody. So a little bit of my background, and kind of just oh, are you trying to say something, or?
No, man, I was just gonna chime in a little bit, and I think what
Yeah.
the misconception that a lot of people have, and I did as well, and it's probably why it took me so long to get involved in real estate investing, is that you
Right.
have to have a lot of money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
True.
I had no money. It was
Yep.
forever when I got
Yep.
started, so I had enough money
Right.
to keep my lights on and pay my mortgage and all that good stuff, but I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars or even $50,000 to go out and start buying properties. So
Right.
I think the story of both of us getting started with no money and being able to be successful and grow an organization is pretty strong.
Yeah, no, I absolutely believe it. Absolutely believe that. And it's crazy, guys. So a little bit about my backstory. So again, my name is Miles, and I actually live here in Greenville, South Carolina with Vaughn, and my wife and I moved from Atlanta, Georgia. And what's crazy is I was actually a wedding and
Hold
commercial
up.
photographer.
You don't live with me.
Wait,
Let's be
what?
clear. You don't live with me. You live in the same city as me.
Yeah, I
I
guess
said,
that's
let's be
true.
clear. You don't
Yeah,
live with me. You live in the same city.
right. Right. Yeah, we probably should clarify that we are not roommates, and which I think if we were, I think it's still be pretty dope. I think we'd have a good time. We'd have a good time, but I don't think our wives and our kids would maybe
Well,
appreciate that.
last man.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so we moved from Atlanta, Georgia, and I was actually a wedding and commercial photographer for like 4.5, 5 years before getting into real estate investing. And I think it's important to note, not to be boastful, but it's true. Like, I really took photography seriously, and like I had an incredible career. And I say that because, like, no matter what I do, I just go all in with it, and that's how you have to be with real estate as well. Real estate is not a just get rich quick, right? It's really a get wealthy slow kind of game. Now, you can make some great money very fast, but in order to really build true wealth, it takes time, and you really got to put in the effort. But so just like that with photography, man, I've been able to travel all over the world: Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Mexico, Dominican Republic. I mean, my wife and I, our honeymoon was in Belize because I had to shoot a wedding in Belize. So we just timed when I had to shoot, or we timed our wedding when I had to shoot that wedding as a photographer. And I've a lot of people know me through Netflix on Love Is Blind. I was a photographer for Love Is Blind, and I've shot with Uber Eats. I mean, all kinds of just really great brands. I had a really incredible career, and I don't say all that just to be boastful and like, oh, look at all these things I do. I really share that because it's just true how you could be at the peak of your game and just like amazing at doing whatever you're doing and having a great time, but life could totally, again, quote unquote, flip on you. And my entire life got flipped because when we moved here to Greenville, like I said, I was a wedding commercial photographer, but all of that disappeared literally overnight because of COVID. So, guys, I started my real estate investing career literally in the middle of COVID. When COVID took off, my business just disappeared overnight because, I mean, people were not meeting up to take photos. Venues were shutting down. I mean, everyone was like quarantined. I mean, you were just locked up. There's nothing going on. And here's the even crazier thing. So, as a photographer or a wedding photographer, usually people book you like a year in advance a lot of times, right? They're like, hey, our wedding's coming up, so they'll book you in advance. So not only did my income just stop like day one and just like, okay, oh my gosh, like how am I going to make money? Literally because everyone was uncertain about the rest of the year, everyone was rescheduling their weddings and stuff until the next year. So literally the rest of the calendar, even if COVID had lifted for whatever reason, within a month or two, dude, I was like, how am I going to even make money for the rest of the year? Like everything was rescheduled. So it was the first time I was kind of like on my hands and knees in the closet, just like, praying to the Lord and crying, honestly, for the first time of like, just out of nervousness and fear, like, wow, like this is really serious. And I just got married. Just had a baby. Like, what am I going to do? And we'll kind of talk about the transition to getting into what helped me start my real estate career. But that's how I got started. I pretty much watched a YouTube video and heard about wholesaling real estate, and then the rest is history. We can kind of go into that, but would love to know kind of your journey, like that actual transition for you, how you got into real estate.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's interesting you say that because it's when you're at that low, right, where you're feeling so vulnerable and you're on your hands and knees and you're asking God, what's the next step? It's when true action, right? When God speaks to
Yeah,
you and true action happens. And
yeah,
we both know that without action, nothing happens. So I think
right.
that's very strong for me. Actually, I will take it way back, but I was born in the Bahamas, raised in Florida, and I got recruited on a soccer scholarship to
Nice.
to Greenville, South Carolina, to play soccer at
Oh,
Furman
wow.
University.
I did
So
not
that
know
was a
all that.
long time back in my day. Yep. So in 1998, I came here as a freshman to Furman University, played soccer, and I actually ended up majoring in health and exercise science in school, and I did an
Mm,
internship as a personal trainer between my junior and senior year. And that internship
wow.
turned into a part-time gig. Then it turned into a full-time gig as a personal trainer. And I don't know if you've read the E Myth or our listeners if you've read
Yeah,
the E Myth. 95 to 99% of businesses are started off by people that are in that technician phase, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
here I was working out of a gym, training athletes on the soccer field, and I'm like, well, man, I'm the best trainer in here. Why am I working for the man, making money for somebody else? Let me go do my own thing, right?
Right, right.
So I ended up starting my own gym in January of 2005. I had
That's
23
crazy.
clients of my own, a couple personal training clients that I was working, training out of the gym, and then I had a couple soccer players that I was training on soccer fields. Well, long story short, I got into the fitness business, opened up my own gym, ran my own facility for 11 years. But
Wow,
unfortunately, I mean, from the outside looking in, it was a very successful facility. Um,
wow.
but I didn't set up the business correctly, and I grew myself a glorified job.
Mm,
So it ran me into the ground. And it got to the point where, if I didn't do something like immediately, I was going to end up in the hospital with a nervous breakdown or
wow.
something. But it affected me physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So I literally shut the doors. I made a decision to just stop
Mm,
because, it was my health, but it was also my family.
yeah,
And at that point, when I did that, when you've done something for so long, dude,
yeah,
you kind of identify with that thing. So for the
yeah, yeah.
longest time, I was always the soccer guy or the fitness guy. So it took
Mm,
me a while to really figure out who I was or whose I was, right? and let
Yeah.
him tell me, hey, you're not just a soccer guy or a fitness guy. Whatever you do, if you put your whole heart into it and your passion into it, you'll be successful.
Yeah.
And not long after that, probably about a year and a half after I closed my gym, one of my wife's best friends had been into the real estate investing industry for a handful of years, doing some flips, and I started living vicariously through her and just got hooked.
Wow. Wow. So wait, so I'm actually kind of curious though. So, because I kind of want to dive into that. I know we probably only have a limited time. This is just the intro, but I think it is important to know because, sometimes we see opportunities around us, but we don't just take advantage of that next step. And I think it's important to know that it just
Yep.
takes taking that next step. Martin Luther King says all the time, you don't need to see the whole staircase to get to the top. You just need to see the first step. And I think a lot of us sometimes we get overwhelmed, especially if you're listening to this and you're not involved in real estate, but you're wanting to get involved in real estate investing and you're like, I don't even know where to start. You start with the first step you can take. Can you just go on YouTube and type how to get started in real estate investing? Can you just reach out to that friend or that family member that is already involved and say, hey, how are you doing that? It's so funny. I get so many people that will, reach out to me on social media that are like, man, I've been watching your journey for so long. And like, maybe I posted something that actually prompted them to actually finally reach out. And it's like they've been following me for all this time and they've obviously had
Yep.
questions, but they just, for whatever reason, fear paralyzes people, but not everybody. Sometimes fear motivates
Yeah.
people. So it's not the fear, it's not the thing, it's how you
Yeah.
respond to it. So yeah, can you touch on a little bit about that? And then also like when you saw your friend who was like flipping, like what made that seem like an opportunity for you? And like how did you just start taking that next step to actually transition, flip your life, so to speak?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Because fear is a tough thing, dude, for a lot of people.
Mm.
And you know the acronym of fear, right? False evidence
I
appearing
Evidence
real,
appearing
right?
real. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's that main thing is false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Fear it kind of paralyzes you, but if you actually look at it and you approach it with what's the worst that can happen, it's never
Right.
going to be as bad as you think it is, right?
Oh yeah.
So you just have to take that first step. You got to take action. And I see so many people that when I got started 3.5 years ago, were considering getting started, and they still haven't done anything. So it's just like when I got started, I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Right.
I
Right.
didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I at least took some steps. And it took me
Yep.
about 4 to 5 months to figure out what I was doing
Right.
before I got my first deal. So,
Right.
if you just go seeking it, and whether that's YouTube University, as podcasts, as books, or you go to
Yep.
somebody that's
Yep.
already doing it, right? Already
Yep.
flipping, or
Yep.
already wholesaling,
Yep.
or already doing
Yep.
some type of investing, and learn from them.
Yeah.
I call that buying speed, right?
Mm.
So go to people
Yeah,
that
I
are
like
already
that.
doing what you want to do and learn from them.
Mm. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
absolutely.
And the
So,
cool thing about
so
that, I
for
like
me, man,
that. But I was gonna say I like the fact you said like buying speed. But the funny thing is like it's like one of the few things you could buy that's free. Because buying speed basically just means you're
absolutely.
buying into learning how to accelerate your journey and your progress. But it's not going to cost you anything, but just you going out of your comfort zone. And you gotta ask yourself, how much is it worth, for you to get out of your comfort zone and just go and ask somebody and
Yeah,
learn something that'll help you move forward.
yeah. We can get into the actual buying of speed later because I feel strongly about coaching and masterminds and things such as that.
Yes,
But
of course.
there is a time cost of money, right?
Right,
So
right.
there is a time cost of money. So when I say buying speed, even though it's investing your time, right? There's a cost to that. Whether that's
Yep.
that time that you're spending with another investor or mentor could be time that you could be doing something else, right? Or spending time with your family or working your day job. But where you invest your time also is going to determine what your success level is going to be, or what your future is going to hold. Is where you invest your time.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. So, guys, we're going to get into some nitty gritty here because, again, this is an intro about who we are, just so you kind of hear a little bit about our story, but also just, again, how we got into real estate, a couple things about that. And then, obviously on our next podcast episode, we're definitely just going to continue to give you guys as much value as possible to help you literally flip your life. Wherever you are right now, we want to give you the resources, the mindset. We're going to talk about everything, not just I want you to hear from people that are just, oh, making money, doing deals, and like, okay, like that's great for you guys. No, no, we want to help. We want to meet you where you are and help you see how you can flip your life completely with real estate. So, kind of getting down to the nitty gritty for me is I legitimately was watching a YouTube channel called Breakfast Club, which is so funny because they don't actually really even interview real estate investors, but I do a lot of personal development. But I always tell people you want to stimulate your mind in other ways, not just how can I grow all the time. Sometimes you want to stimulate your mind in entertaining ways. And here's the crazy thing, and we're gonna kind of go. I might go a little bit into a tangent, with some psychological things, but it's just it's cool. It's interesting to think about. A lot of the people that they interview on the Breakfast Club are kind of like a little ghetto sometimes, if, for lack of a word, lack of a better way of explaining it. It's a lot of rappers, a lot of musician artists, entertainers. So sometimes you'll hear these people are like, "Hey man, you know what I'm saying?" What I mean, and it's like, wait, what? But here's the funny thing. It's all about, dude, it's all about perspective. In my mind, I go, okay, even though they might sound like that, they're producing millions of dollars. They're producing income and a lifestyle that people can only sometimes dream about. So just because they sound a certain way, I need to drop my ego and realize that there might be something I can learn from them. So of course I listen to the Breakfast Club because it's also stimulating another part of my brain, just entertaining. But I realize that you can always learn from everyone. You're never too young to learn from someone, or you're never too young to teach, and you're never too old, right, to learn something new. And the same thing applies with people. You can always learn from someone who maybe isn't in your same circle who is like you. So anyway, there's a guy who talked about how he was able to get started in real estate investing with no money, no credit, basically all the things that if you're in a pandemic, you're like, okay, that's what I need right now. Because I obviously was not in a position. I didn't have 50, $100,000 to buy a house cash or anything crazy. I didn't even have like 10 grand, 5 grand, to be honest, that I could just, invest and just like hope I could make some money. So I wanted to know what they were talking about, and they were talking about wholesaling real estate. So I'm going to kind of real quick fast forward, and we can talk about some of the nitty gritty if we get into that on this episode. But basically, I spent all of January of 2020 learning everything I could about wholesaling real estate. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like I'm like, this is real? Like this actually is real. It's crazy. And I want you guys to understand, if you have never heard about wholesaling real estate, and if you're new to learning about wholesaling real estate, you got to understand it is absolutely something that we do with everything around us. We just don't think about it in real estate. The hats that Vaughn and I are wearing right now, the shirt that we're wearing, the headphones that we have. You go buy a car at a dealership and they're selling it for $30,000. They didn't buy it for $30,000, right? They bought it at a wholesale price and they're selling it to you retail. You go buy a new pair of shoes, you bought it for $49.99. They didn't buy it for $49.99. They bought it at wholesale, selling it at retail. Everything in our lives is that way. We just don't think about that in real estate. And when I learned that and how I could add value in the marketplace by providing discounted properties and for a wholesale price to an individual or an end buyer, oh my gosh, my mind just went. I got obsessed. So I studied all of January of 2020. And then I hit the ground running in February, and then it took me about 3 months. It was in April, and I still have those photos. If you go to my website, my personal website, which will have this stuff in the show notes, guys, you can check us out personally, whatnot, or social media and whatnot. But I still have those photos of those two checks that were both $11,000 deals and did over $20,000. And my wife, oh my gosh, and my wife, you're good friends with my wife too. It was crazy, like life changing. We were like, oh my gosh, this is like proof of concept and absolutely real. So anyway, the rest is history, and we can go into the details later.
Yeah, my wife didn't think it was real when I first started doing it, right?
Right.
And most people don't, right? You get checks
Yeah.
of, $10, 15, $20,000, and as you get into it more and you get better at negotiating and things such as that, you get 50, 60, 70, $100,000 checks, man. They don't seem real to the average person.
No,
right?
it's crazy.
And my story is a little
crazy.
bit very similar. When I started this business, when I got into real estate investing and wholesaling, I didn't even know what wholesaling was.
Right.
My partner that I started this business with back in 2018, that I eventually bought out, she's my wife's best friend. Right? They hang out all the time. She's over the house, we're over their house. But over the last 20 something years, she has built a portfolio of rental properties through, your traditional real estate, finding deals on MLS and pocket listings from realtors. But she didn't have a ton of money to just go out and start buying properties and things such as that when we got started. But she was like, I've done this thing before. I think it's called an assignment. And I'm like, an assignment? What's that? And she's like, well, I got this property under contract that I was going to flip that a realtor had showed me. And then somebody came in the next day and offered the realtor, said they would give them $10,000 more than what I had it under contract for. So the realtor came to me and said, this person's willing to pay $10,000 more than what you have it under contract for. So, would you want to sell it to them? And she's like, well, I don't own the property. How do I do that? And she goes, well, all you got to do is just assign your contract to that buyer. And then at closing, you walk away with a check for $10,000. So she goes, I think it's called an assignment. And I was like, well, that sounds pretty awesome. Let me do some digging. So once again, I went into YouTube University, started finding podcasts, found the term wholesaling. Dude, I was hooked. But even after we found out what wholesaling was, it took us 4 to 5 months to get our first deal.
Yeah.
And we got our first deal under contract about 4 months after we got started, and we closed a month later and made 30 grand. I was like, "Oh, this
ding, ding,
concept,
ding, ding.
man, this works."
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Ever since then, man, I've been hooked.
Oh yeah. No, I love it, man. I love it. So guys, we obviously are creating a space where you can learn all about these things and the details. We're going to go more into details about wholesaling, flipping, owner finance, subject to buying rental properties, raising for all these different things. We'll go more in depth with this, but we at least right now just kind of want to share our story and our journey of how we got involved and a little bit of why we're so freaking passionate about flipping your life through real estate and why, we obviously call this Flip Your Life REI. So I hope you guys hope you guys can kind of get a feel for a little bit of who Vaughn and I are and a little bit of our backgrounds. And we don't want the intro to this entire podcast experience to be too long, but we do just want to share with you guys who we are and a little bit of our backend. Oh yeah, go ahead, Vaughn.
No, I was going to say, dude, we wanted to share our background, but what I want to get into, Miles, and I got a question for you, dude, is how is your life different now than it was before you found real estate?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. Yeah. So it's interesting, man. I'm not going to lie. I've actually started a number of different businesses. So obviously as a photographer was really successful in that. I actually started a food truck business, which is really awesome in Atlanta. I started an e-commerce business that I sold. It was pet portraits. Literally figured out how to just basically get a VA to do pet portraits, photos of pets that people would send in and make them super cute, and did a whole brand on that and sold that company. And anyway, I've been involved in a number of different businesses, but what I really, really love about this in real estate and how this has changed my life is I truly, truly get to experience all the different aspects of what I love about life and business combined. Number one, how it's changed my life today is I feel like I put in the same kind of effort and work, because anything I do, I go all out, right? Like I just go all in and I'm really going to take it seriously and prioritize, and just as awesome. I did that though here in real estate, and I just feel like the return on my investment of what I'm putting in is just so much like more powerful and just such a more, I don't even know how to explain it, but so much more of a ripple effect into all these other things that also create true wealth that isn't just like a transactional kind of thing. Like for one, I'm in a space where I'm creating true wealth. Whereas before, even if I was a high paying photographer or I did a sale with this kind of business or product, it's still transactional. But what's really cool about real estate, how it's changed my life, is it's actually put our family on a track to build true wealth, to where it's not always just like today money, right? It's just transactional. You get paid today, you get paid today. And I always say this too, that a lot of times we're so conditioned, especially if we work jobs and things like that, where you go to work, you get paid. You go to work, you get paid. Even if you're be your own boss and you have like your own, company and your business, a lot of times it's still transactional. If I'm a photographer and a couple books me, I got paid. If you're selling a product, you get paid. But the thing about real estate, a lot of times it's not you go to work, you get paid. You go to work, you get paid. It's you work, you work, you work, you work, you work, you get paid. And then you work, you work, you work, and then you get paid. And then you work, you get paid. And then you work, you get paid. And then you work, you get paid, and then you paid, and then you're just paid, and then paid, and paid, and paid, and paid, and then you just have like passive income, or you built this wealth because you just spent the time to build a foundation, and you're just getting paid, and it's crazy. It's so hard to find something like this, anywhere else in this world where you're involved in an opportunity that can create that lifetime, that freedom that you want for you and your family, and that wealth on top of that, like true wealth. Um, but it's been fun, man. It's also been really fun to connect with a lot of people, and that's the last thing I kind of say is how it's also changed my life. Is it's allowed me to create like true community and real friends. Not that I didn't have friends in other areas, but like it's so cool that like in real estate, and I say this all the time, is 50% of a watermelon is better than 100% of a grape. And I think in a lot of other businesses, you really are kind of competing. Like you open up a gym, if someone has a subscription at your gym, they don't have it at someone else's. If I'm a photographer and I had someone book me, for their wedding, that means every other photographer didn't get booked for that wedding. But in real estate, Vaughn, you and I today could go look at a house and we both could make money on it. We both could partner together. We both could build this thing together. We both can do deals together. It allows you to start like, what's the word? Collaborating instead of competing with your friends around you. And that's what I really loved about this. And your family members can get involved. It's so exciting. Yes. And that's if you have that right mindset. But it's just fun, man. My kids get involved. I have my daughter. We go to closings together and just to kind of grow them up in this environment. And, my wife and I were always getting excited about looking at new houses and new opportunities. I mean, it's just endless opportunities and it's just been really fun and it's created some real time freedom and wealth building experiences. So that's dude. In short, we'll go into more details, I'm sure, in other episodes, but it's definitely been amazing. But what about you,
Awesome,
man?
man. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, very similar story. I mentioned, I had the gym before, and I've had multiple businesses, man. I did business coaching for fitness business owners. I started a mastermind program for fitness business owners. I did, soccer training for business. So I've done a lot of it, man. I've done, if you go back, I got sales in my blood, sales and marketing.
Right.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
So I've started a bunch of businesses. I'm a serial entrepreneur, but when I decided to get in real estate investing, and I love what you said there earlier about it being transactional. It's so easy when you get into real estate and you start wholesaling, is just to continue being a wholesaler and assigning contracts, right? But the problem with that is if you do that for so long without getting into the other areas of true real estate investing and wealth building, you create a transactional company that every time you assign a contract, you have to go find another deal to assign, or you're not making any money.
Absolutely.
So there's a big difference between transactional real estate and creating recurring revenue or cash flow. So I know both of us have really put a focus on that here in the last year or two. And for me, we talk about how it's changed our life or how real estate has flipped our life. Dude, a couple weeks ago, I made a comment to somebody, not bragging at all, and I'm not bragging on this podcast, but I made a comment to somebody that they were asking me for something, and I was, more than willing to help. I'm a very giving person, and I'll do anything for anybody. But it was, it had to do with an organization, a charitable organization. And I told them, I said, dude, right now, I said, unfortunately, I have more money than I have time. Right. And I never thought I'll ever say that in my life. Right. And not that I have a ton of money, because I just don't have a lot of time. Right. So if I have a little bit of time, I might have a little bit more money. Right. No, I made that comment and I told him, I said, dude, I never thought I'd ever say that to somebody. And like I said, it's not to brag. It's just, I love what I do. But I like to protect my time. And my last business, my last long-term business, it drained me. And it drained me mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. And it took a lot of time away from my family and the things that are most important and the things that really matter. So when I started this company, I was very intentional about protecting my time and creating a business that I could have some work-life balance. So, that's been very successful for us. I hardly do anything on the weekends. I hardly do anything on the evenings anymore. That's time for my family, my wife, and my two kids. But there becomes time, right? There's no such thing as work-life balance. We all like to think there's a work-life balance. But when you're a serial entrepreneur, you're a grinder, you're a go-getter, there's times where we're kind of sitting on this pendulum And, right now we're scaling and we're growing significantly. So I got to spend a little bit more time over here on this side
Yeah.
for work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you got to be able to realize that when you're starting to spend too much time over here, you got to start swinging back towards the other side. And if you
Yeah.
spend way too much time over here on the work side, you might have to swing all the way back over here to with your family to keep things balanced, right?
Yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
don't spend a
Yeah.
lot of time right here in the middle, but you're
Yeah.
going to swing back and forth. And you got to be able to understand and realize when you're spending too much time on one side or the other. So
Yeah.
for us, it's I feel like I'm working half as hard as I was working before.
Oh
And
yeah.
then when I say I feel like that, it's half the time as far as hours. I'm
Right.
still a hustler and a go getter in the time that I do work,
Right.
but I'm making multiples of what I was making.
Right. Right.
So I'm making
Yeah.
more money working less. And I
Yeah.
think that's the American dream that a lot of people shoot for.
Yeah.
And you can't really put a dollar amount on what success is or what, what time is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So whether that's
Yeah.
a couple $100,000, $100,000, or millions of dollars, only you can determine what's going to make you comfortable and make you happy.
Yeah.
But if you can get
Yeah.
your time freedom back and keep those stress levels low, that's when you really know that you've been able to change your lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really true, guys. It like, real estate really is incredible. And I know people probably the easiest thing for people to get experience with real estate investing is the fix and flipping, right? The HGTV, it's like, oh, I want to be an investor and flip a home and buy a house. And that's really incredible, obviously in itself, but there are so many ways to build wealth and to build this business. And that's what I love about this business as well. There's just so many ways. It's just crazy, man. Like, and I know we're going to get into a lot of this stuff, but like, even as you and I have talked about just in the past about creative financing and things like that, like I just had no idea about the power of something as simple as creative financing. So, I mean, just being able to not only create income that is just like out of this world, but also to be able to impact people in ways that's just so, and not that you can in other ways, but it's just, I mean, when it comes to like where people live and when it comes to their homes, when it comes to real estate, like that's like your, that I mean that's your like environment. That's like obviously there's nothing like your home, right? They say there's nothing like home, your space. And when you have people that are like maybe going through foreclosure, I'm literally having a conversation with a guy today. Literally, it was one of the leads that came to the system. It was a foreclosure lead that called the individual, and the guy's been living there with his wife for 15 years. It's right here in Greenville, South Carolina, 4 bed, 3.5 bath. And dude, they're in foreclosure right now. He's $50,000 in the arrears, and he's basically going to court in March 15th or so. And they're going to basically determine how long he's going to have. Basically, about a month. He's going to try to ask because he's a military veteran if he can have a little bit more than that, maybe 2 months or 3 months. But it doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily agree to that. It could be they could just say no, and he just got a month, and then they're going to just list this thing
Yeah.
to put on the market, or he's just losing the house. And I'm currently in the process of working with him to be able to work this out as a subject to opportunity. And they love that home and they do not want to leave. So that's another opportunity where you can even help this individual. Now, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to go that route, but one of the things that just immediately came to my mind is like being able to use private money to buy the property. And then obviously I'm going to have I'm going to have a note to the private money lender and then the mortgage payment and basically going to lease back the property to that individual to give them about 2 to 3 years to get their credit repaired, to get back where they need to be able to buy the property back, right? And it's just opportunity where if
Yep.
they did have even something creative to think about in that way, that they would just lose the home. I mean, there's no other option. You just lose the home, and now you have a foreclosure in the credit, and your dream house or the house that you spent 15 plus years of memories is just going to disappear. But now, because of real estate and these unique strategies that we have, so anyway, that's how it's changed my life to really just impact people in such a crazy way. And then it's just fun, man. I mean, it's just like, I tell some of my students this all the time that like sometimes I say this more so in a way that I'm trying to help them kind of reevaluate perspective. That sometimes we get so caught up in these big checks. We got to remember that, man, we are beyond blessed with even just the smaller deals that we do. But it becomes it's almost like we have to force ourselves to check ourselves about like, wait a minute, like we're good. Cause sometimes, you might do a deal and make like $5,000 and just kind of like, it's only 5 grand or it was only 6 or 7 grand. And that's one thing that's changed my life. That dude, and I'm not being boastful. It's just the power of real estate and what we do here is that, dude, like making $10,000 on assignment is honestly like super kind of basic and normal to me. I'm like, oh, it's just 10 grand, like, it's like, which is crazy, dude. Like years ago, first of all, 2 years ago, $10,000, that would be like something that I would only see like on a game show on TV where, there's like a game show like Deal or No Deal. It's like, wow, they get the opportunity
Yeah,
to make like $10,000. But now it's kind
dude.
of like just like,
Listen to
10
what you.
grand.
Listen to what you just said there, dude. 2 years ago, right? I've been doing this
It's
for a
crazy.
little over 3.5 years. You've been doing it for 2 years, and look at how our mindset has changed, dude.
It's
Like
changed in years. Yeah.
years ago, like we were trying when we just got in, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 in one pop was
Yeah.
like yes,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, and, we're like, we're really not even looking for anything less than 15 grand, right?
Right.
Our average
Yeah.
is over 20, and we're like, we're like 3 grand, and
Yeah. Right.
you have to
Right.
take a step back when you say that, and you're just like, dude,
Right.
3 grand is better than nothing.
Yes.
3 years
Exactly.
ago, I was like, 3 grand, I'm sitting there jumping up and
Right.
down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But what I want to talk about is that power. The reason we're doing this
Yeah.
podcast is to show the power of real estate investing and how it can change your
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
in such a short period of time, for you it's 2 years, for me it's a little over 3.5. Dude, we've been able to completely change our life, right? Our
Yeah.
lifestyles. We've been
Yeah.
completely change our life and just how we think and the people we interact with and our belief systems. But also we've been able to change the lives of our family, right? Our wife,
Yes.
our kids,
Yep.
and we're
Yep.
starting to create generational wealth for our families, but not just the wealth, it's the mindset, dude. It's the
Yep. Oh, the
mindset.
mindset.
Getting rid of
Absolutely.
those limiting beliefs. Because my kids, when they grow up, they're not going to have these limiting beliefs that I can't do this or I can't do that, right?
Oh,
Because they're going to
absolutely.
be able to see that their dad went from here to here, and
Right.
just by his drive, his determination, being out there, and most importantly, what I want them to see is that go giver mentality. Right? You've
Right.
read the book, The Go Giver.
Yep.
If you haven't read the book, The Go Giver, and you're listening to this, you need to go out there and get that book immediately. It's by Bob Berg and I
Bobber.
think it's
Yep.
John David Mann.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's dude, it's the 5 laws of stratospheric success, and it's the more value you provide to others, the more value will come back into you in return. And when
Yep.
you were talking about earlier, it's not just about flipping real estate; it's about helping people and impacting lives.
Oh
And
yeah.
if that doesn't ultimately become your purpose,
Oh
you're
yeah.
not going to go for long in this industry.
Nope. Nope. But man, super awesome, man. I absolutely love it, guys. And I guess maybe one last thing I should share with you guys. It's funny, and this is not to like boast or brag or anything like that, but it really does again kind of speak to how this has really flipped my life and changed my life. Is that obviously if you guys are listening to this, you may not know, especially if you don't know my story personally, but I actually haven't even really been doing this business for a full 2 years because 6 to 7 months of that, 2 years ago, 6 to 7 months of that has literally been me really just fighting for my life and getting back to just learning how to really just live life normally. So you guys may or might not know, but basically October of last year, I was hit by a drunk driver going head on, 91 miles per hour to my car. And it had actually just been right after I did pretty much $100,000 on wholesaling. And not very long after that, I got hit by a drunk driver. My entire life just changed and flipped upside down. And just to kind of fast forward, we're not going to spin. I have, videos, documentary kind of content. We can share that something link for you guys to watch that and know a little bit more in depth about that experience, that journey. But long story short, it took me out of the business for really not even the business, my life almost for like 6 months, 6 to 7 months. And because of real estate, now if I was still a photographer, even if I was a high paid photographer, if I was, maybe, I don't know, whatever kind of business, I don't know how it would have worked out. But because of doing this business in real estate, me not working for 6 to 7 months, I still was able to provide for my family and have funds where we weren't, underwater and just, stressed and frustrated. And I worked my tail off to get back into building this business. So obviously things still continue and things are still exciting and growing and whatnot. But it's definitely been amazing to be able to build this business as basically a disabled individual. And if you guys go on my personal website, you'll see that, obviously my tagline is I'm disabled but not unable. because basically I had to get my leg amputated. So my left leg is amputated through the knee. My right arm is completely I'm pretty much almost like non-existent. I mean, I can't even use it at all. It's wrapped up and it pretty much looks like a burn victim. My right foot has foot drop, so there's a whole brace on there, and it's pretty much probably the most painful part of my body. And it's not even the amputated leg. So I pretty much wake up every single day having to have a mindset to say that what happened happened. It's not about what happened to you. It's about what you do with what happens to you. And we're talking about mindset here, so that's why I brought that up. That if someone like me can build this business, who had no real estate background, no real estate experience, started 2 years ago, with even within that 2 years, went through almost a, near death, life changing for the rest of my life experience where I'm an amputee now, legs amputated, and have all these injuries. Man, this business can really impact and change anybody's life. Like it really is something that you can obtain, and you can even do this from home. I mean, you can work wherever you're working, whether you want to do it virtually, whether you want to have an office space. I mean, I have students. I mean, I have a mom who she's like burping her baby while she's on Zoom calls, and she's at home. She's at home doing this business, and we'll talk. We'll touch on stories and stuff as we go along. But like, I mean, anybody can really build this business, and that's what we want to touch on. Who we are, why we're starting this, but also, how this has changed our lives, and why you really should think about real estate investing being something that's a part of your life.
Absolutely, man. And your story, dude, is so inspirational. And the fact that you were out 6 to 7 months, and from what happened to you, 99% of people will use that as an excuse to give up. And dude, you came back with a vengeance, dude. You're killing it, man. And dude, you got so much to be proud of. And dude, I think I've told you this, and whether you know it or not, dude, like I'm in awe of you every single day. Dude, you're one of my favorite people, and that's why I wanted to do this podcast with you, man. Because one, you're so inspirational, not just to your students and the people that are listening to this, but you're inspirational to me, dude. And I told my wife, I said, after all this happened, and I'm so glad that Denise, your wife, walked in my office and told me that, because we had lunch scheduled that following week. Remember that?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
And if she wouldn't have came in, and we're just getting to know each other at the time really well, and if she wouldn't have came in and told me what happened, one, I wouldn't have known for a while, but you'd have missed that lunch, and I would have been sitting there, but like, dude, Miles just stood me up. But
yeah. Trust me, I didn't stand you up, and no pun intended. Even though I lost my leg, I definitely couldn't stand you up. So
exactly. Awesome. But I told my wife, man, once that happened, and just your spirit, ever since that has happened, dude, God had a plan for you, man. He still has a big plan for you.
Absolutely.
And, you're extremely blessed, man. And I told you, my wife's brother had a life-changing accident. About 6 months ago. He fell off a deck and broke his neck and his back, and he's paralyzed from his belly button down. And he has a lot better spirit and mindset than we expected. But I know just you having a conversation with him is gonna, pick him up and change his perspective a lot as well. So, and I know you're just being on this podcast and through your social media and people that know your story. Dude, you've impacted so many lives through more than just real estate, and know that.
Man, I appreciate that, man. And I honestly cannot take all the credit. Really, my energy, my spirit, truthfully, guys, if you guys know anything about Vaughn and I, if there's maybe anything you could take from us, honestly, probably if you didn't take anything from us, I think because of who we are as men in God, we would be super happy that you at least took the fact that our faith is in God. And I think that really has truly allowed me to have the spirit, the energy, and just the joy. Even after an event like that, just man, I cannot take all the credit, man. My energy flows from the ever flowing river, the Spirit of God, and just that energy, and it's infinite, right? I mean, we could get tired and God doesn't, right? And I think that's where I pull all that energy and that joy from, because it's just everlasting. So. But anyway, guys, we will touch more on our journeys and different things in real estate, and we're really excited to bring you guys along with this journey with us. We don't want you guys to just this to be another podcast you listen to. We really want you guys to engage with us and to be a part of this journey. So we're not going to go into necessarily all the little things that we typically will do at the end. You'll kind of start to hear that as we kind of move forward. But one of the things for sure that we would love, even if you hear this podcast alone, is we have what's called the quick threes. And one of those quick threes at the end of our podcast is we want to answer any questions that you guys have about real estate. Like Vaughn and I are learning every single day. We're in the business, in the weeds. We're not just, some guys that did real estate for 15, 20 years. Now we're just sitting back and just talking about, no, we are in the fields, in the zone every single day, building this thing and continuing to learn. So we want to help you as well with wherever you are in your journey, whether you've already bought a rental property, maybe you fix and flip 5, 10 homes, maybe maybe you're wanting to get into real estate investing and wholesaling and understand whatever it is. We want you guys to send in any questions you have. If you're checking this out and you're listening to maybe a snippet on Instagram, or maybe you're on Facebook Live, wherever we have this, wherever you are listening to this, just reach out through that platform. But if you're hearing this through any of the podcast hosting sites, whether it's Apple Podcasts or anything like that, Stitcher, I think some of those that are out there, just send us an email to podcast@flipyourliferei.com. So podcast@flipyourliferei.com. And just send us a question. Just, hey guys, love, your episode. Make sure you throw that in there. No, I'm just kidding. But hey, I got a question about X, Y, and Z. And we would love to just say your name, shout you out. And guys, we'll probably get people on live at some point. We'll probably start bringing people on, to ask their questions live. I think that would be fun too. So definitely connect with us, and we'll have some information in the show notes on how you can connect with us and things like that as well. But anyway, do you have any last words right here while we end this intro?
Well, dude, man, and since you brought that up, and this has been freaking amazing introductory podcast. It's many notes and different topics that we can off and different things as we move forward. But how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, no, great question. So I am very active on Instagram for sure. Basically Instagram and Facebook, and it's so simple. It's literally just my first and last name, no funky words or titles or anything. Literally just Myles.Berrio on Instagram. So MYLES.B as in boy, E as in egg, RRIO. So just Myles.Berrio. And then Facebook, same thing, just Myles Berrio on Facebook. Just connect with me, Myles Berrio. But I do have my personal website, which is MylesBerrioGo.com. And you can connect with me more on there. But and would love to connect with you guys. We love to connect with people for sure.
Absolutely. And to get in touch with me, I'm more old school. I'm a little bit older than Myles, so Facebook's my platform. I think now that's for the old people. Right. I got the profiles on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, but I don't even know how to use it. So I'm on Facebook a lot. So just go on Facebook. Search my name, Vaughn Bethell, VAUGHN I should be the only Vaughn Bethell out there. I think I'm the only one. If there's another one, it's probably an account I started when I first started and didn't know how to shut it down, or I lost the password or something like that, or somebody's stealing my identity. So we need to put a nix to that.
Funny. Oh yeah,
yeah. We'll also have I think we're going to have a Facebook page for the Flip Your Life podcast.
Oh yeah, so look that up. Flip Your Life, REI, Flip Your Life podcast. Yep, you'll be able to connect with us there. So, but cool beans, man. Awesome. Well, hey, it was a pleasure doing this intro. I think this is awesome. Hey, we didn't even pass 1 hour. That's perfect, guys. We're definitely going to try and keep this on a shorter end, anywhere between 20, 30 minutes. We don't want to go crazy long, an hour and a half, 2 hours long. We want to just get in there, get some content for you guys, and see you guys on the next podcast. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. And man, Vaughn, it's a pleasure. I'm excited, man. This is going to be so awesome. The Lord is going to move in such amazing ways. And this is just going to be fun more than anything, man. It's just going to be awesome. So.
Absolutely, man. And, guess what, Myles? We took action, dude. We've been talking about this for a long time.
I know.
Here we are preaching to take action. And we finally took action.
Took action.
Just, one last thing. Yeah, one last thing I want to say to everybody before we shut off is, I think me and you are the epitome of collaboration over competition. Yeah. So we're in this to help other people. So if you're listening to this, no matter what platform, reach out to us, find us on social media, send an email to podcast@flipyourliferei.com. And ask us your questions. We're here to help you, and that's really what we want to do. We want to provide value, and like I mentioned before, it's the go-giver. The more value we provide, the more value comes back to us in return, and that's just not for us, that's for you guys as well.
Heck yeah, man, fired up, so awesome. All right, guys. Well, we are super stoked. We will see you guys on the next episode. And again, Vaughn Bethell, this is Myles Berrio, and we are out.
Can't stop, won't stop. Where the bricks at? I give him that diddy bop. Like, take that, take that, take that, take that. I'ma put in work.